Okay, cool.
Welcome back to Rated Radio with your hosts Rayburn Alexander and Shane Wyndham. Rayburn, is anything going on in your world?
Yeah, I'm killing it at work and continuing to suffer from an underlying amount of anxiety that someone will pull the rug out from me at just about any given moment. But until that happens, I'm riding that high. What's going on with you, Shane?
So you have job fears now?
Oh, it's been pretty consistent since I've started really loving my new job. I'm so scared somebody's going to take it away from me. But I'm killing it. That's positive, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I bought a house.
Oh, yeah, you bought a house.
Yeah.
Are we in your new house?
No.
I know where we are.
I'm excited about it. Here's hoping the only reason I don't die in it is because I wound up being super wealthy. Katie, what the fuck are you doing here?
Came to party.
Don't you get tired of listening to me ramble?
Yeah.
But
Good.
you're still...
Good answer. Very good answer.
It's like, you're my brother. I guess I gotta do it
Yeah,
anyway.
I get tired of it.
Anything going on in your world?
No. The kids are almost out of school, so summer break.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Just before we get into this, I did say in the last episode that I was going to try to get you onto the show and attempt to trigger you really bad because we drew Stained and it was your addition to our jar. It was one of your top 10 artists and I put all of those in the jar.
Oh, okay.
I'm not actually trying to trigger you. Just before we get into it, I want you to know. All right, let's roll this intro. Such good music. Am I right?
Yeah, man. Gets me going every time.
All right, Rayburn got to pick a list.
Top 10 summer songs. We're coming right up on the summer, and I want to give people playlists that are going to help them get through it. Shane, why don't you get us started?
Because I'm ridiculous.
I'll get this party started.
Can I ask a question before you start?
Sure.
How did you make this list? Like, is it songs that mention summer, or what was your thought process?
I love her as a guest because that is a wonderful question. These are songs that just make me feel like summer. They don't necessarily have to mention summer. And like Shane said, I don't necessarily have stories tied to each one. When it comes on, I feel like I'm right in the middle of a hot ass summer. So
okay, good.
That's what my list is going to be working off of today. First on my list.
If I didn't get to answer.
Oh, I didn't know she was asking you.
And she didn't answer her own question.
Okay.
Rude. That is such a great question. Let me tell you my answer and nobody else matters.
Sorry. I thought she was making eye contact with me, so I assumed it was all about me, like I always do.
If the song reminded me of my back being real sweaty, it made my list. What about you?
Nice. Yeah, I basically went summer vibe. A lot of mine do mention summer, but basically, if the song is playing, I mostly think about you're sitting in the backyard drinking or you're driving down the road at night, mostly night, sometimes day, the windows down. A song that you're glad it's hot while that song's playing for some reason.
I get the vibe.
Cool.
Makes sense to me. Are we ready to get started?
Yes, I believe that we are.
First two on my list is Love Me by Shaggy featuring Janet Jackson and 2002 by Anne Marie.
So my first pick is Summertime by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. This one takes me back. My hometown had 2 mini golf courses when I was young, and my crowd knew some key people at one of them, which meant we got to play putt-putt and kick it in the place's arcade well after hours from time to time. Summertime got played on the regular and has always felt like an instant mood adjuster. What you got, Katie?
My one, because I have 10, not 20.
I'm sorry, we're assholes.
She sticks to the rules.
And I didn't comment on y'all's because I don't know if I know them. I at least don't know them by title.
Well, I was wanting to comment on Shane's and say how pissed off that I was when I found out about your list, because literally the only song I had picked for my list was Summertime by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. So
it's a Will Smith song. Can we just...
That's not what it's listed as.
I know.
But good pick, Shane. I was jealous that I couldn't use it for myself.
Okay, my first pick is Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith.
Good one. Very good one.
Cool.
Next up for me is Live and Direct by Sugar Ray and KRS-One. The memory I associate with this song isn't a good one, but I still love this track. My cousin Corey was licensed before I was, and he's always been in love with behind the wheel danger. Seems like we'd hit the lake bottoms to go mudding every week or so. The day we had this Sugar Ray disc in was particularly terrifying though. His little blazer seemed to always avoid getting stuck in the mud, but that left him feeling like some sort of mudding Superman or something. He was continually upping the ante. First, we damn near flipped coming down one of the bigger hills while on seriously uneven ground. Then he decided we needed to check out the deeper parts of the trails we'd always avoided. Those trails were meant for four-wheelers though, and none of us realized that until we were left reversing our way out the way we'd come, a massive cliff off the passenger side, and fighting to keep the vehicle from slipping off the edge of the trail. That muddy ass fucking trail. I never went back in those trails off Trinity Road after that day. But yeah, this song is a great summertime song.
One thing that I also wanted to say about my list, the reason why I decided to go with 20 is I'm listing a song that resonates with past Rayburn because I grew up with a pool in my backyard and I absolutely had to have my music playlist playing, and I had at a very young age, a specific list for summer.
So not only do you refer to yourself in the third person,
yeah,
but there are different versions of you in the third person?
We've established this. This is why you cannot nail me down when it comes to my musical interests. We've talked about this. Anyway.
What's your pick?
My picks are Surfer Girl by Beach Boys, reminiscent of my mom, as you both know, and Humility by Gorillaz, which was a song that I recommended a couple of episodes past and said this would be a perfect list for it to be on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Next up for me is Joyride by Rockset. I'm reminded of Rayburn's mom when I hear this song. She and Eric were always quick to remind me that life's a ride to be enjoyed, act a fool, don't try being anyone but you, and do your best to take things lightly. This song comes on, and even in the dead of winter, I can feel that summer air, everyone on their way to the water.
Chicka cherry cola.
That's Savage Garden, yo.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
What's it called?
It's I Want You. Yeah.
My second pick is Fishing in the Dark by Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Yeah.
You like that nitty gritty?
It's a classic.
I could have seen using that one, but I've already used it in a previous list.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Next up for me is Swimming in Champagne by Eric Heatherly. If you've ever fallen hard in love during that last leg of summer, this one's sure to hit home. And it's first love for me. Amazing while it lasted, but more than either of us were ready for. Like some fireworks show that just refused to end. She's listening to some sad song on Spotify while I'm writing this, and it's occurring to me that I've yet to attend another state fair since we ended, but time's standing still in that period of my life every time I hear this song.
Next on my list, and a younger version of myself, is Baby I Love Your Way by Big Mountain and Olé by John Newman. I heard Olé by John Newman from Blue when I was creating the South Padre mix. So while one song comes from past Rayburn's preferences, the second song choice usually comes from newer, more mature Rayburn and a more recent summertime experience.
So Baby I Love Your Way is past Rayburn?
Mm-hmm. And Olé.
No, it's New Rayburn.
New Rayburn. Olé. It's a good song. It's got a beachy vibe to it.
So
I've tested all of these songs, I promise you guys.
Gotcha.
Is there a moment when you stopped being old Rayburn and started being new Rayburn?
That's for another time.
Or sometimes are you still old Rayburn?
I'm every version of Rayburn at once. Okay. You don't know what you're gonna get.
She's every woman. It's all in her.
Literally. I Want to Sex You Up by Color Me Bad. A reminder of going with adults as a child to break into apartment swimming pools after hours. One night saw this jam playing on our boombox, memorable because my friend Jason and I were allowed to drink wine coolers for the first time that night. And no one ever showed up to kick us out. We just partied until all of us were ready to go. Seriously, one of the best nights of my life.
Nice.
Wine coolers.
My third pick is That Summer by Garth Brooks. One of my favorite picks of my picks.
Yeah, no explanation necessary on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But you won't find any of his shit on Spotify.
I know.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy.
It is very annoying.
They do have some pretty good,
covers.
Yeah. Did I tell you, Shane? I haven't had the chance to tell you. I just informed one of our listeners, Toby Bradley, that we've talked about in the past. He had no idea that Garth Brooks had an alter ego. So I wrecked his whole world when I saw him last because we talked about it. And I showed him pictures.
Chris Gaines, is that what we're talking about?
We're talking about Chris Gaines.
Okay. I don't know.
You don't want to.
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
You don't. Well, he's got very Chris Angel vibes he's got the spit and like the emo hair and...
Deuces Are Wild by Aerosmith. I met my first love in the summer, years before we wound up together. And I know some people hate when I talk about my past relationships favorably, but we're talking about a lightning bolt moment in my life. Something that completely and quite literally reshaped who I am. Our first real conversation was typically impromptu. One night she was staying across the street with a friend who she forced to sneak over to hang out with Corey and I. She was laser focused on talking to me about anything and everything we had in common, and she would not stop staring directly into my eyes. Further down the line, she'd laugh about me thinking I needed to lose weight in order to garner her interest, claiming that I had it all along. And because of those early interactions, I believe her. She was a transformative experience in just about every way imaginable. So yeah, I still smile when it's hot outside and the song starts playing. Stop hating.
Dab on them haters, Shane.
But not literally, because I might hit the mic stand.
Yeah, don't do that. Next on my list is It Ain't Over Till It's Over by Lenny Kravitz and Feels Like Summer by Childish Gambino. No explanation needed. If you hear it, you're going to know why it's on this list.
Yeah, I highly encourage everyone to go listen to Rayburn's list for this one in particular because I'm going to be listening myself.
All right, let me know what you think, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a little more interactive with her stuff going forward.
Yeah, he doesn't care a whole lot of what I have to say.
She's always making these snide comments like, I listened to your shit. Did you listen to my... Nope.
Nope. Nope. He doesn't. He doesn't care enough.
On a Sunday Afternoon by Lighter Shade of Brown. My friend Chris and I rode his bike to my place one day when we were kids. I had just gotten a new bike and we were going to cruise the trailer park. Problem was that he just altered his bike and the lowrider pedals were scraping the ground. So he was in my yard trying to fix the problem and listening to this song. I was riding in the street feeling impatient, trying to do stupid shit like turn the bike around with no hands on the handlebar. He distracted me for a second, asking if I had anything other than this single to listen to because we'd heard the tape like 10 times while he struggled to think of a fix for his fucking bike. I wound up flipping forward into a drain. What's the real house that was on our road? I'm talking about like that big fucking house.
The real house.
The one that was abandoned and people thought was haunted?
No, it was on our side of the street.
Oh, like down the road at the stop sign.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the people who lived there, but we always knew it.
Mr. and Mrs. Liggett.
Liggett, yes. They had those drain things on the side. I straight flipped into it. My hands grabbed the handlebars just in time, and when I landed on my back, I was perfectly situated in the drainage tube, still looking like I was riding my bike. Wasn't in pain or anything. Song was still playing, and I couldn't do anything for a minute but laugh.
Somebody needs to keep you away from drainage ditches and drainage tubes because you don't seem to have a really good history with either one of them.
I didn't have the problem the other time, did I? It was Katie who thought the world was falling away.
No, you fell off somebody's car and rolled over into the drainage ditch seized.
Just a grassy ditch is all that was.
But still, it's a drainage ditch. That's
what you got, Katie?
Oh, Even the Losers by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Get Ready by Sublime. Throwback to poor kid days for me. Our AC used to freeze up a lot in the summer, which made it pretty unbearable in the house. Our front yard was pretty shady though, so if all the cars with working AC were driven to work for the day, it wasn't uncommon for us to sit on the porch with a box fan blowing on us. Got high with Harold under those circumstances more than a few times, listening to the Sublime album this comes from. Me with my iced tea, him with his Schlitz. It was always a vibe.
Yeah, I think Sublime is...
Mm-hmm.
Harold.
Well, it's very summer.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, speaking of Sublime, next on my list is Coconut by Harry Nilsson and Doin' Time by Lana Del Rey. Originally done by Sublime. Shane was figuring out where the connection was.
You threw me off for a second. I'm like, Harry Nilsson?
You gotta let me finish. I'm trying to list my list in the older song first and then the newer song second. So these make my list because Coconut is a goofy ass song and it just, again, feels like summer. You want to nice, cold, coconutty, fruity drink in your hand when you're thinking of summer, beaches, being by the pool. And then Doing Time. If you've listened to our past episodes, you understand my appreciation for Lana Del Rey. While I think the Sublime version is still extremely good, Lana Del Rey's version of Doing Time resonates with me personally.
It is a good cover. Sweepstakes Prize by Marah. Fun fact, I hate heat. Winter is my favorite season, hands down. There are things I don't mind doing in the heat, like working out or obviously swimming. But when it comes to pleasurable things, I want heat overload far away from me. This song was on a mix a lover made for me at one point, and she's been the only exception I've discovered regarding my issues with heat. She was big on warmth and sun, and we were always hooking up in the most humid conditions, but I didn't mind it with her. Worthless insight, I know, but true story, I still don't understand why she was the exception to that very, very real rule.
So, aside from what you just said, can we all agree that hot, sticky summer sex is not where it's at?
It could be. Summer lovin'.
A very specific mood.
Did you have a blast, Katie?
And I think it does depend highly on the partner, and maybe that's why, because some people just don't like being sweaty.
I hate being sweaty.
Some people give off so much heat that you wind up super nastily sweaty. If
I am not within 10 feet of some sort of water, I don't want to be hot. I don't want to be sticky, sweaty. I have to be near water. If I'm out and about during the summer, that's where I have to be.
I completely agree. The only exception to that for me is if it's windy. Just wind in general. So windy night would be fine just sitting outside, or driving with the windows down. Is one of my favorite things to do in the summer.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this in a different part of the country other than the South, you may not understand. Heat here is extremely humid.
Yeah.
It just sucks. If you're going north, if you're in the mountains, even if there's not a breeze, it's still pretty nice. The air is thin. It's also nothing like this.
You can't have thick thighs in the middle of a hot summer, and I suffer from that. So
I picture you the entire summer just
legs
tape.
Open. Oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Legs open.
I don't.
Thank you for that.
And you're welcome. I don't have to go to those extremes anymore because they make something for chub rub, so it's a lifesaver.
I just wanted to make you say chub rub.
The Monistat anti-chafing.
It's called Her. This is not a sponsor, but it's called Her. It looks like a stick of deodorant. It's pink, and you rub it on your inner thighs or under boob. That helps too. It'll keep from sweat stains and moisture accumulating in those areas. So.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
Laura just got something. It's called Lumi, I think is what it's called.
I think I've heard of it.
It's like that. Like you can use it as deodorant or just anywhere.
Yeah.
And she's said it's a miracle in her life.
Can I put it in my butt crack?
I mean, you can put it anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't cut that and use it for sample later.
But the big thighs, that is hard because in summer, it's almost like when you have big thighs, you don't want to wear shorts because that can be even more uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And last summer was the first summer since I had my traumatic incident with duct tape. I haven't worn shorts since then. Not only because I'm a thick-thighed girl and I'm weird about it, but I just started wearing shorts again last summer. And that shit comes in handy, let me tell you. The Her.
Yeah.
Or whatever you use for your inner thigh. Not duct tape. Don't use duct tape for your inner thigh.
Katie, do you have another song for us here?
Ride With Me, Nelly.
Yeah.
Such a good pick. Yeah. So good.
Extreme Days by Toby Mac. A reminder of the crazy days spent with my ex-fiance. She was something of a daredevil. If the rest of us were hesitant to jump off a bridge into the lake, she'd dive head first. We had a flat-out foot race down McKinney one day where the road's super curvy and the speed limit's 55 miles per hour. She treated shopping carts like racing bumper cars and even jerked my steering wheel into a hard right one day for kicks while I was driving. So it came as something of a surprise when we were out trailing in the woods for hours and she just sat down on the ground with our pit bull pup, started crying, saying she couldn't go any further. I never knew what to expect, and that made those days genuinely extreme.
Sounds extreme, man. Too much for me.
Is that all of it?
That's all for the first half of our top 10 summer songs lists.
Let's talk about Stained.
Stained.
So here I want to go ahead and start with Katie. Katie, do you feel like you would like this band better if they made good music?
I feel like I would like this band better, which I do like this band quite a bit. But like I've said before, I don't typically just listen to an artist. It's random songs here and there for me. And it's usually people, if it's not on the radio, it's somebody showed me the song.
Yeah.
Or the rare occasions where I stumble upon it on my own, which is rare. So a lot of these Stained songs, even though I say I really liked Stained, I hadn't even heard. I say I like Stained because the songs of theirs that I really like, I really, really like. Okay. That's when I say I'll like an artist, is if they have those songs that are a must.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but do you ever feel like the experience would be better if like the bassist learned how to play bass? Or if the drummer learned how to keep a beat, you know, like that.
When did we start attacking our guests? That's what I want to know.
I'm kidding. As was already stated, I like Stained.
I'm going to go ahead and agree. They all need to, maybe go to school for these things.
Oh my God.
I want to listen to Stained and hear classically trained musicians, okay?
Me
Is
too.
that such a crime?
No.
Yes, it is, Shane. Shut the fuck up.
I was just playing on the whole trigger thing. Let's talk about Stained. Why don't you walk us through this, Rayburn?
First album that we covered by Stained was Break the Cycle from 2001. This was my middle pick.
Top.
I gave it 3 5s out of 13 tracks.
10.
4.
My top track was Epiphany.
Same.
Outside.
And my bottom track was Suffer.
Can't believe.
Waste.
Suffer for me seemed like it lacked flow. Just my opinion, man.
Like period flow.
Yeah. I need that at least once
flow.
a month.
What are we talking?
Just the flow of the song. I felt like I would
I'm
get into it. No. Let me explain. I would get into it and then something would take me out of the groove that I was in. So,
do you have notes?
I do. For me, this was alternative metal, almost grunge-esque. I enjoyed more of what they offered in the emotional soft ballad tracks. The bass and guitar stylings were quite enjoyable. So, Shane's shitting all over the bassist. I actually liked it on this album. So
I wasn't really shitting all over any of them. I was just kidding.
I wasn't.
No?
Just kidding.
They need to go to school.
I've been around the block enough times with this album to know that you have to be in the mood for its dark, moody alt-rock vibes to land. This album is angsty and saddening. Some of the music isn't aging well, and it all bleeds together at a certain level, but if you're struggling, this album is a warm blanket. And Epiphany, though. Can I just...
It was my top track for a reason, dude.
Lord have mercy.
I don't have any notes, but Epiphany was the one
Outside,
that rivaled
though.
Outside for the top pick.
Do you like the album version or the live version better?
I don't know. I like them both. Maybe I don't care which version it is.
I remember hating the studio version because we were so used to the live.
Yeah.
But years later, it's a great track.
Next album that we covered was Chapter 5 from 2005. This was my top album.
Bottom.
I gave it 4 5s out of 12 tracks.
7.
0.
Oh, damn. My top track was Everything Changes.
Please.
Everything Changes.
And my bottom track was King of All Excuses.
Take this.
Please.
Damn.
We're all over the place.
By the way, I can already hear Joseph pissed off because King of All Excuses was listed as a bottom track.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. It's okay.
I'm not here to please Joseph, man. Get
Notes.
the fuck out of here.
You're good.
My notes include writing was decently done on this album. They were led by Aaron Lewis, who is the lead singer of Stained. He wrote just about every song on this album. This was less hard rock sounding, more of a mellow, slow down direction, which, like I said in the previous album, is something that I appreciated from them.
I said bottom album, but this album's a mixed bag of greatness and songs that just barely miss the mark. Lots of Creed vibes here, surprisingly. Stylistically diverse, at least as far as Stained is concerned. None of this is bad. The band's playing together fabulously. I just couldn't always relate to Lewis's lyrics or vocal presence. Still above average for the genre in my opinion, though. It sounds like you didn't like this album too much, Katie.
No, I shouldn't say what I think of this album as a whole.
Okay.
I'll end up pissing someone off.
Okay. This album had Everything Changes. What's the other hit that was there? Right Here Waiting?
Right Here.
Yeah.
Right Here.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Yeah,
called.
that's probably what people know them most for. Next album that we covered was Stained from 2011. This was my bottom album.
Middle.
I gave it 1.5 out of 10 tracks.
9.
2.
Wow. My top track was Something to Remind You.
Take a breath.
Paper Wings.
My bottom track was Failing.
Same.
Throw it all away.
This album brought back the heavy rock sound. It was kind of middle on the road. It was consistent. A lot of 3s here, didn't quite hit the mark with 5s. Again, I only gave it 1. Not bad, but a little lackluster for me. It lost the emotions in the vocals for me. Again, just my opinion.
It always felt, growing up with Stained, that there should have been more ready comparisons between Stained, Korn, and Limp Bizkit. But really, the best similarity we had was the song Mud Shovel. This album remedies the fuck out of said conundrum. It's not packed with the love songs you may enjoy from the rest of their albums, but this is their best hard rock effort, and I say that with complete confidence. I am so glad that this thing exists. It got my middle pick only because the number of tracks was lower than the rest of the albums, and I did, on the whole, like the other albums as well. So,
I mean, you gave it the most amount of 5s, correct? 9 out of 10?
No, 10 on the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard every single album of Stained, but I was pleasantly surprised by this album. I liked the heaviness. Did y'all both say Failing was your bottom?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny. That was one of my only 2 5s.
Really?
Yeah. It was the first time I'd ever heard it, and I can't even remember what that song is now. But it was a 4.
5. It was a 4 for me.
Yeah.
But it was the only one that got a 4.
And
I'll give it another listen. I've heard the album a few times, but I don't know. Maybe it is a grow on you.
yeah, I mean, I didn't give it like a 2 or a 1. Like I said, I gave the majority of the songs on this album a 3. So it's still pretty decent.
Yeah.
And definitely something that I will go back and listen to, give it another shot.
I mean, I can't say I would give it another 5 if I go back. I change my mind constantly about music, but I just thought I only gave the 2 5s on that album. So I was like, that's your bottom? Both of you?
Some similar sounding artists that I would compare them to is Chevelle, 3 Doors Down at times, and some newer works by Seether. I saw a lot of comparisons between Stained and those artists. Just, again, little subtle things.
Seether definitely makes some sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can hear that.
For those that don't know, they started as a cover band playing songs by Korn and Rage Against the Machine, so Shane's comparisons kind of make some sense there. They opened for Limp Bizkit in 97, and Fred Durst liked them so much that he adopted them.
Yeah, he
Quote,
signed
unquote,
them.
Adopted them.
And then produced their early material, which he originally was completely against because the album artwork on their very first album made him think that they were this devil band or something.
Yeah.
Good luck getting your hands on that album, by the way. Tormented, their debut, which they still list as their debut.
Can't find it anywhere.
No, I can't find it.
Their original name, Stain. They just added a D.
Oh.
Really?
I thought that was stupid. So yeah, their original name was Stain.
I thought you said Stained again. I was like...
No, Stain, but they added the D.
You just...
They added the D.
But I am glad they added the D. 'Cause the word stained, it's just stained. I don't know. But the word stain, it makes me think of like a poop stain. Like that word's gross, but stained,
Yeah,
it's different.
You got to have the D.
Yeah.
it's so cold in the D.
How the fuck do we supposed to keep it?
Katie knew it. Worth noting that Aaron Lewis is also making country music. It's pretty good if you haven't heard it. If you like country, give that a shot. The music makes me feel like I'm a ghost in some underwater world.
Damn.
You say that and all I can think about is BioShock. And I'm like, I wonder how it would feel to listen to Stained while playing BioShock.
It's a shooter. You're not a ghost. You're actively involved.
No, but you're in an underwater world.
Not exactly what I mean.
I'm going to shut up now. Keep my opinions to myself.
There are other Stained albums I look forward to covering. A fast takeaway would be that if you already know you like a Stained song, you're apt to find a number of other songs worth liking if you take a chance on their albums.
I agree.
Is that all?
That's it for me, man. I'm ready to take a break. You guys exhaust me.
And please keep in mind, we were just joking at the outset about the band needing to learn how to play.
Yes, it was all fun and games.
Yes.
But then again, if you're going to come to this podcast and take us seriously, why the fuck are you here?
Get!
I heard Katie. She said, go on, get.
Is anyone still here? If you are, might we have a song recommendation from you, Raven?
Yeah, my song recommendation this week is I Like It by Foxy Shazam. While not politically correct, I like to interpret this song as an empowerment and appreciation of the African American female. And if this is lost on you, maybe you should give it a listen.
Never heard it. I am going to listen.
And the chorus, that's the biggest black ass I've ever seen, and I like it. I like it.
Hell yes.
It's a gritty song, but it's a good song.
I was looking at some of my notes, and I kind of missed what was happening. All I caught was something about if you're a black female.
Yes. Song can be taken not well, but I promise you, at least the way that I took it, it's encouraging the empowerment of the African American female physique. Full-bodied women.
Could it be taken not well because it could be degrading to women? Is that what it...
Yes, or it recognizes her race. They're a full-bodied, every color woman. This one is just specifically talking about an African American female. So,
yeah,
just saying. Some people can take it the wrong way, but
white bitches need to get.
For me, it's a song of empowerment for full-bodied women, regardless of what color they are.
Okay.
You got the junk in the trunk, but it's white. Get your pasty shit out my face.
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying in the song.
That's my takeaway over here. I'm glad I picked up whatever she was putting down.
Yeah, you listen to the song. It's
Sorry, you were trying to be serious, and I'm not that.
I'm not. I'm just wondering. I haven't heard it.
Curiosity.
Exactly.
My song recommendation is Fuck You, Goodbye by the Kid Laroi and MGK. It's Machine Gun Kelly for all of you old folks out there. When you're ready to let all that neurotic guilt go, assuming you carry loads of it around like I have for the entirety of my life, this song will be supportive of that healthier you.
Quick question. Y'all know the battle between Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's just the two songs, right? Machine Gun Kelly did the one, Eminem.
I know that
I think so.
I know that they got beef, but I cannot keep up with who Eminem has beef with. Like I just can't.
Yeah.
So you don't have opinion of who won that little battle?
I don't. I haven't heard it, so I can't contribute to this conversation.
I was just curious.
Yeah, the Eminem side of that was one of the most ridiculous raps I've ever heard in my life.
Ridiculous in a good or bad way?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. I like a lot of Machine Gun Kelly's stuff and what he brings to the table. I don't care about rap beefs at all. But if we're talking about technical skill and who would have won on that front, yeah, it would have been Eminem.
Right, I hear you. And I don't care either. It's just, when it comes up, it's like, ooh, let's give it a listen, see who won.
Yeah.
And upon first listening, I was like, okay, hands down Eminem. But when you go back, I gotta go Machine Gun Kelly. He did that shit. I liked it.
He was a drummer in the Motley Crue film.
The Dirt.
Yeah, apparently he's gone like punk, I think. Doesn't do rap.
He's dating, what's her face with the tiny thumbs?
Ooh, I'm sorry, what?
Transformers chick, Megan Fox. He's dating Megan Fox. Look at her thumbs, dude. You will never be able to not see them. She has some sort of condition, so I shouldn't be saying this, but they're very, very short, and the ends are very, very blunt. So
I never noticed.
Yeah, he's dating Megan Fox, and he wears a drop of her blood around his neck. They're pulling an Angelina Jolie from back in the day.
She did that?
And Billy Bob Thornton when they were married.
Oh.
I dated a girl with a short thumb. Just one of them was shorter like that. I never minded.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
It's
more like 1.5 instead of 2, you know?
My plug for this week is actually Jim Carrey's speech at the 2014 Maharishi International University graduation. This speech has always spoken to me, and its words are something that I try to live by every day, and my hope is that it helps you too.
I'm recommending the GameCrafter.com. If you're looking to make your own tabletop games or just own some games almost no one else in the world has, I can't say enough good things about this website. Again, that's thegamecrafter.com. Their prices can be a bit extreme if you're looking to make a game with hundreds of cards. Otherwise, their interface is pretty intuitive, and they're ready to help you with whatever you may not understand. I sell all of my games through this site, thegamecrafter.com. Not a sponsor.
I was going to say a little self-promotion.
I want to talk about Our Lady Peace.
I would like to as well.
Shall we?
Don't get. Katie did that much better. I will say.
Did what?
Don't get.
Oh.
Katie did that much better.
Way to go, Katie.
Good job. 1.5 thumbs up.
You say get better than somebody else. You win a banana sticker.
All right, let's talk about Our Lady Peace. Shane, do you want to list these albums?
No, I want you to.
The first album that we covered by Our Lady Peace is Happiness is Not a Fish You Can Catch from 1999. This was my bottom album.
Top.
Middle.
I gave it 4 5s out of 11 tracks.
10.
1.
My top track was Lying Awake.
Thief.
Thief.
And my bottom track was Happiness in the Fish.
Consequence of laughing.
Consequence of laughing.
Wow, good for you guys. Kindred spirits over there. You guys get 2 banana stickers now.
Yeah.
Happiness in the Fish, for me, the reason why it fell in my bottom is it wasn't bad until the moaning part hit. I hate hearing moaning. It absolutely bugs the hell out of me. If I ain't doing it, I don't want to fucking hear it. So anyway, some things that I want to say about this album is this was alternative, emotional. Again, loved the slow alternative sound. It almost seems transcendent and cosmic at times. And this whole album for me feels like a sense of awakening.
This is one of the floaty, cerebral, alternative albums that have defined my life. I keep expecting the music to get old or feel dated, but that's yet to happen. Even the single 4 that's holding this back from a perfect rating is a strong fucking 4. It's just the moaning at the start that throws me off. And I don't normally mind that. It's just I mind it in that song. There's something weird about it for me. Easily one of the greatest albums ever released. Stop sleeping on it. I've listened to it hundreds of times, so...
Got it.
Yeah.
Next album that we covered was Gravity from 2002. This was my top album.
Middle.
Top.
I gave it 4 5s out of 10 tracks.
9.
2.
My top track was Made of Steel.
Not enough.
Not enough.
And my bottom track was Bring Back the Sun.
A story about a girl.
Bring Back the Sun.
Oh, never mind. I'm going to let y'all roll with it.
Okay. Bring Back the Sun, it was annoying at times for me, but my top track, Made of Steel, it really resonated with me. Listen to the song, and if you know me really well, it makes a lot of sense.
Made of Steel is bright. Bring Back the Sun is very not bright.
I mean, yeah. If you know me, it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, this took me back to preteen years. I definitely, Shane, remember Innocent and Somewhere Out There. Turns out I did know a couple songs by them. Still alternative, but production value is increased. More of an internal struggle from the vocalist is what I got from this album.
This album released just as I was beginning to experience reciprocal love for the first time, and I wrote most of Nevermore Forevermore while listening to this CD. Basically, it's a big deal to my heart. Bob Rock's production talents made this much more accessible to mainstream audiences, but Our Lady Peace's signature sound remains intact. Most listeners should start here. Another near perfect effort for me.
Next album that we covered by Our Lady Peace is Burn Burn from 2009. This was my middle pick.
Bottom.
I gave it 5 5s out of 10 tracks.
9.
0.
Wow. My top track was Escape Artist.
Never Get Over You.
Paper Moon.
My bottom track was Monkey Brains.
Same.
Refuge.
This seemed more generic from them. Really cool album art, in my opinion. I like the use of color pop, more upbeat, and harmonies were quite pleasant.
This album's not as musically unique as the others we listened to, but it's still damn good. You'd never know simply by listening that it was produced by their lead vocalist and lyricist. Monkey Brains is far from a bad song, but it sounds like something else. And if it weren't here, you'd have a pretty chill spin about reflecting, letting the unavoidable things hurt, and healing in the end. It's a far cry from where we started musically and lyrically with Our Lady Peace, but it's very undervalued and easy to recommend to anyone who plans on growing up at some point in their lives.
Not me.
Katie don't want to grow up.
Some things I want listeners to consider. For me, similar sounding artists. Shane, are you ready for this? At times, the vocalist, I get Marilyn Manson vocals vibes. He's shaking his head.
With a no.
I think I get it. I think I get it.
There's something about his voice. It's very slightly that reminds me of Manson's voice. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking when he's like screaming or doing anything like that. It's just his natural voice that reminds me a lot. Also, Enrique Iglesias vocals. So if Enrique Iglesias and Marilyn Manson had a baby,
that I don't follow. Mm-hmm. But I will say the extremes there do highlight what I've always thought, which is this is a very interesting voice that Rain Maida has. Mm-hmm. His falsetto is very noticeable when he kicks into that other gear, but I love it.
As far as bands that I would compare them to, All American Rejects meets Matchbox 20 meets Third Eye Blind.
Pretty good.
And it makes me feel like I need to cry tears of joy and sadness.
I said it makes me feel like I'm safe inside of a lightning storm.
If I had to compare them to any band, for some reason, these two bands kind of go hand in hand for me. They give me the same vibes, the Our Lady Peace and Third Eye Blind. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't think they sound the same, but they just give me the same thing.
I mean, they were both popular at the same time, so that
maybe
makes sense.
Maybe it could be, you know, when I got into both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our Lady Peace is the third best-selling Canadian band in Canada, and originally they were known as If.
Wow.
So Our Lady Peace is definitely a step up from As If.
Worth pointing out that Rain's married to Chantal Kraviazuk, who's another musician, a female musician. In case you wondered, it's not a dude.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
And Rain is also the only founding member still in the group to this day. I'm not someone who thinks everything this group does is gold, but I do consider them as one of my all-time top artists. The good material is just that good. Kind of like what you said about Stained.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I'm curious to know who won for the past week for both of you.
Stained.
Shane?
It's Our Lady Peace, but it was rather close. They were within 2 5s of each other.
And for me, it was Our Lady Peace. They were both very good, but there was something about Our Lady Peace that stuck out for me personally. I found myself listening to more of their music after rating and really, really enjoying what I was listening to. Mm-hmm.
This is one of those weeks where verses definitely doesn't feel correct because I take away pretty much the same thing from both artists. Mm-hmm. I do come back to Our Lady Peace a lot more. And I don't know if that's the cerebral nature of the music or if it's just that I heard Stained so much on the radio when I was younger. I'm willing to bet that Rayburn knows more Our Lady Peace than this because we didn't cover Clumsy at all. And that's got a handful of hits on it. But yeah, it should be good to come back to in the future.
Yeah.
Both artists.
Definitely, this whole week is definitely something that piqued my interest further into both artists because, again, I only knew the hits and the hits weren't. I mean, we know my past. If it wasn't on the radio until a certain age, I didn't listen to it. I didn't go find it. We didn't necessarily have that capability when we were kids. Now all music is at our fingertips. So there's endless possibilities of music that might intrigue me later on. So
yeah,
another reason why we do the podcast, Shane.
And 2 artists that are definitely worth a deep dive.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk more summer songs or summertime songs, whatever it is.
All right. Next on my list is Moving in Stereo by The Cars. If you have ever seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, oh boy, do you know why this song is here? Again,
I've seen the movie and don't know why this song is here, but that's because I don't always remember everything.
What's her face gets out of the pool? Brad, you know how cute I always thought you were. I mean, come on.
Fun story.
Okay.
Heterosexual male over here, right?
Uh-huh.
I remember that scene from when I was young and enjoying it. Obviously, it's boobs coming out of a pool or whatnot.
Yep. Oh, the memory was sparked after I said that.
What I didn't remember is that there's an additional chest scene in like the pool house after that with the other girl.
Yep.
Who is much more my flavor.
That scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the first scene, the Brad, you know how cute I always thought you were. I've always been so perplexed how it can be one of the hottest scenes in cinema, coinciding with one of the most embarrassing situations that you could have possibly been in, which is where she walks in on Brad while he's giving himself a little love, thinking about her. But again, that scene is just another reason why I appreciate the female body. Let the record state, I'm with a man, but women are beautiful. Anyway.
I like the other boobs better.
Thank you for that, Shane. My second pick is Steal My Sunshine by Lynn. Pretty on the nose with that pick. So that's it from me.
That was in the running when I was creating mine. I approve.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you approve.
Don't Wait by Dashboard Confessional. I actually used to make annual summer mixes. I think this went on for 5 or 6 years before I started adulting entirely too hard. They were always labeled with the title Pirate Shores and leaned heavy into that early 2000s brand of windows down alternative bangers. The second half of this list is a snapshot of my favorite tracks from those mixes. This was the first album I bought after meeting my wife for the first time. Very glad I didn't wait.
That must be why I have a Dashboard Confessional song on my summertime list.
Uh-oh.
I'll go ahead and name that one. It's hands down.
It's a good one. And I find myself in the position of asking you, do you have a preferred version of that song?
Anything Dashboard Confessional, I prefer acoustic.
Okay.
And you can't find that on Spotify, can you?
I don't remember. I don't know if it's there or not.
I haven't found it, like any of those things anywhere. Like it's just those CDs you used to make that had the best versions of any of their songs that I've ever heard.
The acoustics were always side releases that you could grab on like LimeWire and stuff.
Okay.
So,
And also get 70 viruses with it.
I have seen recently that Chris from Dashboard Confessional put a lot of his stuff up that hasn't been available before. So maybe it's there somewhere now. I'll go look.
Yeah, they definitely need to put out an acoustic album.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. It's my turn again. Love is Only a Feeling by The Darkness. I've always enjoyed going for walks after dark with my headphones on. I was doing just that one night. This song was playing, and out of nowhere, there were very bright headlights coming up behind me. I turned around just in time to jet out of the way of some drunk in a truck who was driving on the wrong side of the road. He ran off the road, spun around in the ditch like some deranged idiot, and sped off. The adrenaline rush was unreal. I started the song over, and the guitar felt like a live wire shooting sparks through my veins. I still kind of feel that every time this song starts kicking off in the beginning.
So besides me spending an endless amount of time during the summer by the pool, I was either by the pool or standing on top of my grandmother's old Yugo that sat in our backyard, pretending that I was on MTV's Spring Break. And When It's Over by Sugar Ray was usually the song that I chose to play on my boombox at this time. So, Shane, I approve of your Sugar Ray addition to your list, but When It's Over is the one that makes it for me.
So, were you dancing up there?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
The neighbors really enjoyed me being like, next we're going to play Sugar Ray. Like, there's nobody there.
Wow.
It's just me alone on top of the Yugo, which is probably where my whole theater thing came from. The ability and want to perform in front of no one. Just perform. No one has to be there to enjoy it. And my next pick is Like a Bird by Nelly Furtado. This song feels like summer for me, but the story that I'm going to include with it is actually a story of blues. All I will say is that he spent a uncomfortable amount of time rubbing lotion on his mom's friend during this summer. And he associates it with this song. He's going to hear this. I'm sorry, honey.
Is this good? Is this bad?
It's not a fond memory that he looks back on.
The friend wasn't hot?
No. So it was, yeah.
Is she hot?
No.
Why?
No, not
Why
hot.
did he have to do that?
Because they would go to the lake.
Katie's crying.
Because they didn't go to the beach. They would go to the lake. And it was always like, will you put lotion on? And Blues, he doesn't want to be a dick. So he's like, yeah, sure, I guess. And he says he associates this song with that time in his life.
How old was he?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think maybe younger than 10, maybe a little older because when the song came out, I don't know. But yeah, every time I hear Like a Bird now, I used to only hear it because it made me feel like summer. I loved the song because it came out, I think, during the summer. Now, all I can think about is poor Blue having to rub lotion on this woman that he did not want to be rubbing lotion on. So anyway.
Seems rather inappropriate.
I mean,
Rude.
he was a child. It wasn't a sexual thing. I'll say that.
Right, but still, he was uncomfortable with it.
Not for him, it wasn't sexual. You never know.
No, I know that woman.
Ooh.
I know that woman. It was not sexual. Anyway, moving on from me. Let's hear what you guys have.
Why Worry by the All-American Rejects. I stirred up a lot of unintentional drama in my first relationship, which resulted in a pretty swift breakup. Trying to be a man and go tell the girl's stepfather that I wanted to be with his daughter did not go well. Enough time spent in the car listening to this song helped me realize that it was okay to forgive myself, and also that I wasn't the only one in that relationship who had a propensity for kicking the hornet's nest. Summer was better as a result.
It's a good damn song.
It is.
That's a
good album.
Yeah,
that's a very good album.
Hell yeah.
That was on repeat a lot when I was younger.
Same.
So good.
My next pick is Lady May by Tyler Childers.
I think the only one I know is Suffer in Peace.
That's Tyler Farr.
Who'd you say?
Tyler Childers.
Yes, that's a lore recommendation hit the jar that I've yet to go listen to. Okay, never mind. I'm going to shut up.
You won't be disappointed, I'm sure.
Cool. It's me again. My next pick is In This Diary by the Ataris. Summer of 03 is one I still have trouble believing I got to live. A reminder that opening yourself up to the experiences of this world will routinely deliver outcomes far stranger than fiction. I partied with nudists on a yacht. Had my clothes stolen while skinny dipping by someone's fucking boyfriend who I won't mention. Chad.
Jack?
Chad.
Oh. He was not my boyfriend at the time.
Y'all just kind of passed him back and forth for a while.
Okay.
Anyway, spent the nights rocking my girlfriend to sleep and got drunk on girly drinks in a bathtub where I was thanked with a blowjob for reasons I still don't understand. The only thing remotely close to calm throughout that chaos was all the time spent listening to music while on our way to the literal anywhere we were always going.
There was a lot going on in that story. I'm still trying to compute. But next on my list is Sleepwalk by Santo and Johnny. Beach, Caribbean, Hawaiian vibes.
One of the greatest instrumentals of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Song actually has lyrics, but
the instrumental
not on that.
The instrumental is where it's at. And if you know anything about us, we're not usually a huge fan of instrumentals, but this one's a good one. And Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles. Yep.
I feel like I've heard that one recommended before somewhere.
It was It was a song that reminded me of Alyssa because she hated it until I played it incessantly during the summer that she was around. She moved up closer to me, and now it's stuck in her head just as much as I would like it to be.
All right. Next up for me is Just Can't Wait by Stroke 9. In the span of a few years, I went from being called Big Shane to being catcalled by strangers while walking through the mall. The summer of 02 was patiently waiting on my first love to kick off while ignoring tons of thirst, which I was anything but used to. The world is a very different place when you're attractive in the general sense, and the potential for bliss is completely worth what it takes to get there. Hence why I stay fat now. Easy to maintain a functional marriage when ain't nobody trying to land your silly ass on the side.
Well, we've already talked about chub rub once this episode, so I think
That's a different kind of chub rub.
Yeah,
That's
know.
Rubbing the chub.
I mean, I'm not going to shame either acts of chub rub, so.
Katie?
Oh. Midnight Rider by Allman Brothers Band.
I like it.
Solid.
Me too.
Is that one of those late night with the windows rolled down songs?
That one's it anytime.
That's it.
I think a big thing it's from Devil's Rejects when they're running off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just hot. So I don't know. It just gets me. And it's from Now and Then, which is very summery.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It just got the vibes.
That movie has made a huge comeback recently. Now and Then. It's everywhere all over TikTok. Everyone's
Really?
talking about it now. Yeah. I literally saw probably a handful of TikToks before I got here that were talking about Now and Then. I mean, underrated movie. I loved that movie when I was a kid.
People like it?
Yeah. And I still
Good.
really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
It holds up.
Yeah, it does.
I don't feel like Babysitter's Club holds up anymore, but Now and Then does. Maybe I was just a weird kid who thought Babysitter's Club was good. And
I
everybody else
loved
was
that
like,
at one point too.
I mean, yeah, Babysitter's Club I still enjoy, but there's something about Now and Then, now that we're adults, we can relate to remembering how we felt being kids and being the adults that have to deal with the experiences that we have had as kids and the people that we've developed into. So, yeah, Now and Then holds up. A surprise recommendation for our listeners.
Summertime by May reminds me of that first summer spent with Amy. without rehashing a lot of our intimate history, I'll say that this was the summer my brother-in-law Joseph and I finally began really seeing eye to eye. Probably wouldn't have happened without my cousin Corey in the mix. The three of us did some really stupid shit that summer, including jumping off of a rooftop into a 3-foot pool while sitting in lounge chairs. Just excellent.
One of the things that we considered when placing the pool in our backyard, and it's above ground pool, it's not anything special, but we put it close to the roof because Blue wanted to be able to jump off the roof into it.
Oh my God.
He hasn't done it yet, but he was like, yeah, I can jump straight off that. I'm like, okay, you go right ahead. He said, are you going to do it? And I was like, no, my clumsy ass would probably like hit the side of the pool and completely rip the side off. I'm like, you can do that. But next on my list is Stir It Up by Bob Marley and the Wailers. Yes, can I help you?
No, nothing. I was thinking of this is going to sound so stupid. You talked about falling and hitting the side of the pool, and I just imagine you not getting hurt. Like you're Po from Kung Fu Panda or something instead of a human being who actually gets broken bones.
I wish it were that way. My life would be a lot better.
I wish I was Po.
I wish I was. Who doesn't wish that they were Po from Kung Fu Panda? I mean, come on. Anyway, Shane's dying over there imagining me being Po from Kung Fu Panda. My second pick is Cheerleader by Omi. Again, this was another song that came out during the summer. It was one of Blue's favorites. I really enjoyed it too, but it was one of Blue's favorites. And it also helps that he liked this song and said that it reminds him of me because I'm his cheerleader.
Wow. That's high praise.
He's found him a cheerleader, Shane.
Congratulations, Blue.
He probably used to cruise by on a bike, or I don't know how Blue got around back then, but he saw the summer, the MTV summer break.
If he would have seen that, he would have never gotten with me. He would have been like, what the fuck?
And you live right off the main road.
I know.
Like everybody in town must have seen that.
I mean, the backyard, it wasn't the highway. It was at the back of the house.
Blue's parents, like the moment he says, oh, I'm going to go over to chill with Rayburn, and they figure out where you live or whatnot. His parents just being like, isn't that girl that sits on top of the car and dances and
talks
like
to no one?
Jockeys herself? Mm-hmm. And
that girl at spring break all year.
Yeah, that was me. You know what? He's lucky. I'm a catch, damn it.
Supernatural by Splendor. I have a tendency to hit the road alone in the summer and just drive down the streets I frequented in years past. Everything seems more vibrant here in the summer, the way those places are in my memory. So I'll turn on things like this and waste a little time getting high on the faint feeling of days gone by.
My next pick is Something Like That, Tim McGraw.
All right.
Something like that.
Hard Don't Forget.
No, it don't.
Thunder by Boys Like Girls. Shortly after Megan and I officially became a couple, she helped lead a group of summer campers to California and back. When she finally made it home from that trip, I remember feeling no regret at having given up my physical freedom to be with her. Being without her has always left my life feeling like lightning without any thunder, and that sort of existence just isn't for me.
That's sweet. That's a sweet analogy about y'all's relationship. I like that. Good job, Shane.
You know, the next time she comes on, you're going to get the real sweetness, right?
Am I going to get the real sweetness?
Who are you talking about?
I was just thinking of that Skittles commercial. You know what I'm
Are you ready for my sweetness?
Are you ready for my sweetness? Ooh, all over you.
Megan, his wife.
Oh.
Ignore what we just said about getting the sweetness. I was giving him a compliment about how nice he put the dynamics of their relationship.
The last time Megan was on, I wasn't going for a serious sweet playlist. I was kind of going for the opposite, but I still said some sweet things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. She hasn't seen the true sap come out yet, so.
Anyway, last for me is Amber by 311 and Bandoleros by Don Omar, because I'm a culturally diverse bitch.
I like the pronunciation.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
I took Spanish for 2 years.
Good job.
Thank you.
I lived Spanish for longer than that.
You lived Spanish?
I lived it, okay?
Oh, fuck.
As a kid, almost all the time when I wasn't home, I was in Hispanic homes.
Right.
I mean,
so you were adopted. You were Hispanically adopted.
You see the memes that talk about like the barbecues or the drunk uncles, and oh my God, accurate as fuck.
Yeah, Jordan had a lot of Hispanic friends and were in their homes. Yeah, I hear a lot about the culture from people who, you know,
it's beautiful.
We're friends, and yeah, it sounds very fun, very nice, homey, heartwarming.
Until you're in trouble.
Yeah, we've And then you get the chunkla.
We were kind of free range, and that was nice. So
It's a sandal for anyone that doesn't know.
Only One by Yellow Card. Had a really long night at the bowling alley once. Place closed at 2 that night, but I didn't get out of there till after 3. I was going through a lot in my personal life and got word that day that the place would soon be closing. When I got to my car, I found a bunch of messages from my friends written in the dust coating Brooklyn, my Ford Contour.
Mm-hmm.
I really needed that boost that night. Still remember the way that felt when I get down. Got in the car, and this was the song I had playing in the deck. Played it all the way home. Couldn't see it at the time, but that was the start of a spectacular summer.
That song was on the jukebox at the bowling alley. I used to play that song all the time there.
Yeah.
That's a good one. My last song is Thunder Kiss 65, White Zombie.
Totally appreciate this pick.
It's one of the few hard rock songs we've had on here, too.
On this list.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Glad somebody went there.
Something
it's a good
about
one.
Rob Zombie that makes you feel like desert sand and everything sepia toned and hot.
Yeah, I get it.
Sepia?
I've heard it pronounced sepia. Is it sepia?
I say sepia.
Sepia.
I think
sepia
I say
toned.
sepia.
Yellow.
Yeah.
I always say
the-
sepia. I don't know.
Oh.
You were the first one I've heard pronounced that way.
Sopapia?
Yeah, that's what I'm after.
Come on, Katie. I'm hungry as shit. You don't need to be talking about no damn sopapillas.
My last song is Running from the Rain by Thursday. Used to go for midday walks at Eureka Park in the dead of summer. Listen to this song a lot on those walks, imagining a gentler existence and all the renewing rain my overheated heart could handle. There was a girl who'd wink at me as we passed every single day. Probably should have taken my headphones off and spoken to her at some point, but I was so in my head that I chose to take it as a sign that there was cyclical good to be had in life, and I still live with that intensely comforting assumption. Oh, that was
No, that's
that
it.
was it.
That's it for
All
me,
right.
man. I'm a
Sorry.
culturally diverse bitch. That's how I wanted to end things. Because I know one Spanish song for the summer.
Thank you for coming on again.
Yes. You're always,
Thank you for having me.
always a pleasure to have on.
And thank you for all the hard work that you do every week that nobody ever gets to see. I think people know about, I get compliments all the time about the way that the videos are edited on Banter Bar. So just,
Well, I love it.
Katie's the editor for Banter Bar?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
She is our producer. Yes, she is.
You heard it here, folks.
Quick mention before this. I don't know what y'all are doing.
Whatever the fuck this is.
Just want to say, this summertime playlist, and I find it funny and interesting because your 2 bands that y'all did this week that I got to do with you guys this week, they're very winter. They're very cold to me.
Yeah.
So it was just funny, the contrast between the music that I went through.
They say bouncing back between hot and cold reduces swelling.
That explains so much. I'm feeling so much better this week.
Well, I'm not trying to reduce swelling. You know what I'm saying?
Ew.
And this is why I come here every week.
Oh, damn. All right. Well, we're not drawing anything this week because next week we are going to be covering DMX and Mystical.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Not sure if we will have our guest or not. I think he's got a lot going on in his life. I will go ahead and mention, if you're on Spotify and you want to hear this musical guest before he ends up on our show in the future, he's Masa Lopez, and definitely recommend going and checking out some of his stuff. I used one of his songs on my novel playlist, so safe to say that a lot of that music is near and dear to me, but we will see you guys next week with Mystical and DMX. We'll see how that goes. Sorry we are so late covering DMX. We wanted to cover him pretty quickly after his passing. And that's going to do it for this week. So hit up our playlist to hear all the songs we talked about. Get our full ratings, t-shirts, bonus episodes at teespring.com/ratedradio. Guide what we listen to by suggesting new artists for our jam jar. We're always open to taking your top 10 artists. That's the best way to get into that jam jar. You can even send us voice messages on Facebook for a shot at being on the show. Your support is what makes or breaks us. So thank you for listening and sharing. And until next time, fill your world with music.
Bye, y'all.
And get you some summer lovin'.